An empirical formula is an educated guess or an approximation as to how many elements are within that compound. It is by no means the exact chemical formula. The exact chemical formula is the molecular formula. So in order to figure out a molecular formula, you first have to figure out your empirical formula. Let's try one. Nicotine has a molar mass of 162.1 grams per mole and a composition of 74.0% of carbon, 8.70% of hydrogen, and 17.30% of nitrogen. Find the molecular formula. To find the molecular formula, you first have to figure out what your empirical formula is. So our first step is to change our percentage to grams. To do so, note that if we were to add up all of these percentages, it would be out of 100%. So because it's out of 100%, there is no need to multiply or convert anything. You are literally changing your percentage to grams. These will be our new values that we'll use in the next step. Step 2 is to convert your grams that we found in our previous step to moles. When converting to grams to moles, we use molar mass of each element to get to moles. So in our case, we'll have the 74.0 grams of carbon. Align that with the molar mass of carbon, which is 12.01 grams. Those grams would cancel, and then we'll get our 6.1615 moles of carbon. We'll do the same thing for hydrogen, except aligning hydrogen's molar mass on the bottom, and then we'll divide, and you get 8.613 moles of hydrogen. And lastly, we'll do the same exact thing for nitrogen, except nitrogen's molar mass is 14.01. Divide these values, and you get 1.234 moles of nitrogen. The next step is to then divide by the smallest number of moles, which in our case will be the nitrogen. Divide each one of these values, and your moles would cancel, and we're left with the new subscripts of our empirical formula. Now we have our empirical formula. Those subscripts that we found in the previous step are as shown, and now it's on to figure out our molecular formula. So the next step is to figure out the molar mass of this empirical formula. Start with your carbon, which we have 5 of them, and multiply by the individual molar mass of carbon. We'll get 60.05. Do the same for hydrogen. Now there are 7 times that 1.01, and you get 7.07. But there's only one nitrogen, so you don't even have to really multiply. It's 1 times 14.01, which is itself. We'll add all these values together, and your molar mass of your empirical formula gives you 81.13 grams per mole. Your next step is to divide. You will be dividing your molecular formula's molar mass divided by the empirical formula's molar mass. In the initial question, you were given the molecular formula's molar mass. You will always be given that because there is no other way to figure out the molecular formula without the molecular formula's molar mass. We found our empirical formula's molar mass, and a nice little trick for you to remember that molecular formula's molar mass goes on top and the empirical formula's molar mass goes on the bottom is please, oh please, don't forget about me. Molecular formula on top, empirical formula's molar mass on the bottom. So we'll divide those two values in our case, and these grams per mole will cancel, and you get a whole number of 2. Our final step is to multiply that whole number, which was 2 that we found in the previous step, to each subscript of your empirical formula. So in the black, you'll see our empirical formula. We're multiplying by 2 that we found before, and finally we get our molecular formula of C10, H14, and N2. This is the exact chemical formula of nicotine.